Hi, my name is Tristan from the CPAPstore.ca. Today we're going to be looking at the ResMed AirSense 10 versus the Phillips Respironics Dreamstation 2. Now the Dreamstation 2 is the latest and greatest from Philips. However, the ResMed AirSense 10 has been replaced by the AirSense 11. Both are still very current and very capable machines. I think it's good to have a little comparison. So looking at the cases here, this is the ResMed. As you can see, the Dreamstation case is a little bit taller, maybe like an inch taller. However, it has a lot smaller footprint this way. So as a whole, I would say that the ResMed case is like quite a bit bigger. Okay, they're stacked on top of each other. In terms of the case build quality, I'm gonna have to give it to ResMed, and that'll be an ongoing theme throughout this video. I think the build quality of the ResMed machine is just a lot better. If you can see right here, you know, you have these zippers with the nice ResMed branding on it. ResMed definitely put some, thought into just the zippers. The front pocket is great. You can access documents if you're traveling. You have nice blue accents. Here you have ResMed branding there. They definitely, put thought and effort into this case. Now opening it up, it opens up very easily there. We have this lip here, so your books or any manuals or maybe other reading material that you have won't slide out. Two pockets for your manuals there. You have right here, just a reminder where everything goes, very clear with a padded foam, and you can access your entire machine, all laid out very nicely. And you definitely have room on the side here for another mask very easily. You're keeping things clean and organized. Now on the outside of the machine on the back, we also have a place to put a telescopic handle for your suitcase, should you be bringing this as your personal item if you're traveling. Now with the Dreamstation, do you have any branding? No, you don't. It almost looks like any generic case. It seems kind of floppy, like, it's just almost a generic case from, I wouldn't say the dollar store necessarily, but it doesn't feel as good quality. You do have Philips branding on the zipper. That's about it. So some people might like that, some people might not like that. But leading into the case itself, you have this top here, which is foam padded, and it looks like you could, maybe put something there. It looks like a pocket. It's not. It's just a felt padded upper. And I think there's a little bit of a missed opportunity by putting, or by not putting any mesh little bag here. This would be perfect for power cords, perfect for extra iPhone charger or anything like that. And you just don't get it, unfortunately. Now removing the manuals here, as you can see, there's less pockets, less organization with this case. It's almost just one big stash pocket. I feel like although there is definitely some good space here to put a mask, because of the disorganization of the case, the form factor seems like it's good usable space. Once you start putting the hose in and trying to put the hose on the side or try to put the hose here and started using it, to be honest, from my experience, I just feel like the case isn't laid out as well as the AirSense 10. So it's a little bit smaller, but I don't think it's as good of a case, and I don't think there's as much space in that case. But let's take both machines out and take a look. Okay, so having the two machines here, we have the power cords. The ResMed power cord is a little bit smaller than Philips, but not by much. They're very, very similar. Let's put this down here and just let's look at the machines. So here we have the ResMed, here we have the Philips. The ResMed comes with this heated hosing, or this heated tubing, okay? Very nice quality. Has good connection points, quite bold. ResMed branding on the side, very nice rubber grip points that are quite nice on the tubing here. The Philips tubing is not heated. You have to buy the tubing separately, the heated tubing or the climate tubing separately. However, it's not expensive compared to the price of the machines. It's like 50 bucks. So if you were to get the heated tubing or the climate tubing afterwards, it's not like, you're spending more money. They're about the same price at the end of the day. But this tubing here is rather simple. It seems a little bit cheap and crinkly compared to the climate tubing, but that's because obviously it has less hardware in it. But just very simple, very lightweight. Just putting the tube on. For this one, it's very easy. It just slips over like this. Okay, if you do have the climate tubing, you can see there's like 3 pins below. That's where that would click in there, but obviously we're not going to be looking at that today. With the ResMed, the climate tubing goes right in here, snaps right into place. I'll show you again. What's really nice about this is it swivels. So you can put this right along, your wall if just you're having this on the nightstand right next to the wall, and it swivels your direction, which is really nice. And I feel like that form factor is quite good actually. So say this is on your nightstand, I'm the wall, you're over here facing you. That's gonna minimize any tube drag. Whereas the Phillips, the tube's gonna be going straight here and then like around, or maybe around you this way, depends on what's on your nightstand. I feel like it's kind of a little more in the way. If you have a glass of water or something like this, it's kind of an odd position where the tube goes, but that could be personal preference as well. Now let's just dive into a quick look at the machines. Start with the ResMed. You got the power button up top. This is not a touch screen. You have a good old-fashioned dial and click button there. It's quite satisfying. And you have a home button right there. Many users do like the dial instead of a touch screen. I think that when you're comparing the ResMed AirSense 10 to the 11 has a really nice touchscreen, really good form factor, very responsive, very quick. So comparing the 10 to the 11, it's kind of like anything goes there. You like the dial, you like the touchscreen, both are great. We're going to talk about the Philips touchscreen in a bit. It's a bit small, and I feel like it's a bit laggy as well. So I prefer the dial on the ResMed versus the touchscreen on the Philips, but I prefer the touchscreen on the AirSense 11 to the dial of the AirSense 10, if that makes any sense. Looking on the side here, we got the SD card slot. It just opens like this. Okay, we got the filters. This filter you're gonna change every 4 weeks or less, or more, every 3 to 4 weeks is good. We got the power cord there. We got the hose connection port there. We have the button here to release the humidifier chamber, and it clamshells open like this. I find that if you get to the max line with this tank, you don't find it spilling at all. I find that this to be a very good, very well designed tank. So good job from ResMed from there. That's what that looks like. Looking at the Dreamstation, very sleek look. If you want something that just looks super sleek, I mean, you can't go wrong with the Philips. I think it looks really nice. To open it up, you push this button here on the humidifier tank and you just slide it out. There you go. You can see this is where the tank kind of latches on to be put back together. Fairly simple. And then inside here is where you get, all the stuff. So SD card slot right there, and then filters here. You have 2 filters. The blue filter is your ultra fine filter, okay, and it has little arrows to show where you go. And this is your washable pollen filter. So this you're going to change every 6 months. This you're going to change every 4 weeks, just like the AirSense. Goes back together just like that, and in we go. Maybe upside down. There it is. And the tank itself, we have the max line there, and it clamshells open. I would have liked this hinged, just, this is kind of like one more thing to drop, it being able to separate. But it is maybe easier to wash this way. You put it on, snaps together, and snaps together just like that. In terms of build quality, I think the ResMed is a little bit better. It just feels like a really solid unit. There's no rattling. But with the Philips, I feel like the buttons and the plastic seems a little more brittle. There's a little more wiggle, if you can hear that. I feel like the build quality of the ResMed is better. That being said, the ResMed is 2.7 pounds roughly. The Philips is 2.3 pounds. So it's a little bit lighter, which kind of makes sense. Now let's turn these on and quickly look at the menus. As you can see, both companies went different directions when it comes to touchscreen placement. I think both have pros and cons. If you're someone who wakes up in the middle of the night frequently, wants to check on their CPAP machine, wants to maybe change dials on the fly in the middle of the night, you might prefer the ResMed screen. You can see it when you roll over. It's right on the front there. However, if you're someone who wants to look at their settings and get everything set up, dialed in before they lay down, so say you have this on your nightstand and you're sitting beside your nightstand, then the touch screen at the top of the machine is actually really nice. You can just kind of like look down and easily configure the settings of how you want without kind of looking over, down at the side. Depending who you are, the screen placement might factor in for you. It might totally not. The screens itself are pretty simple in terms of what they offer, of course. Let's go through the ResMed screen first. So in my options, we have home ramp time. Okay, that's set to auto. The ramp time is how much time it takes from you to start from whatever you're starting at to your prescribed air pressure setting. So you can change that from auto and it'll figure out when you're sleeping and it'll change those automatically, or you can be like 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, find out how long you want to go from your starting pressure to your prescribed air pressure. So we click the button there, and as you can see, it starts at auto, but we can change it anywhere from 5 minutes to 45 minutes. Okay, so it's very easy. Humidity level, again, when you have your climate line plugged in, humidity will go no matter what, but actually, that's a good point, Tristan. Let's look at this. Okay, so if we take our climate line and we plug it in, we will see that there's climate control and tube temperature there. So without it, it's just humidity. As soon as you plug in the climate line, we have climate control and tube temperatures. So just like before, we spin the dial, we click it, we can go from auto to manual for climate control, and tube temperature. We can change how hot or how warm or cool we want the tube. Okay, then the next thing is masks. You just select what type of mask you're using, so the machine knows a little bit better. So pillow, full face, or nasal mask. Run mask fit. Run mask fit is basically a test of how well the mask is fitting. So if you change a new mask or you're new to CPAP, you're gonna want a mask fit test. You'll click it and it'll start running. And since I don't have a mask set up, you will see that there's a mask leak and you get the unhappy frowny face. Next is the run warm up. You're gonna wanna do this like 20 minutes before you go to bed. It'll heat the water tank so your humidity is ready to go. So I'm gonna stop the warm up there. Airplane mode as the end, and we're gonna click home. And then sleep report, we click that, and it'll show you the sleep report of your last sleep. You can get more information through the ResMed app. Now with the Phillips, let's click it on here. Oh, I accidentally clicked it on, oopsie. All right, so we have the last session, okay? All the settings for the Phillips are in one place. So we got ramp, humidity, tube, we've kind of all talked about that already. Flex is exhalation relief. So the machine will adjust how much back pressure or how much pressure it's gonna have based on the pressure of when you exhale. So you can change that from off 1, 2, 3. So 3 is gonna be the most it adjusts and 1 is gonna be the least it adjusts to basically how hard you're breathing back into the machine. Scrolling down, we have airplane mode, Bluetooth, that's Bluetooth connectivity, airplane mode, same as that. So the one thing that's interesting about the Phillips is that, like we talked about ramp pressure, this kind of will start at a base ramp pressure and then go up to your prescribed pressure. With the Phillips, you can actually choose what starting pressure you have, and then it'll go up to your prescribed pressure. So say your prescribed pressure is a 10, you can start at a 9 or an 8 or a 3 or whatever. You can choose that starting pressure. With the ResMed, it just kind of automatically starts, and the only thing you can adjust is the time it takes to get to that pressure. So that concludes a little bit of a quick look at these two machines side by side. I think that the build quality of the ResMed is a little bit better. We've had some people say that they get better sleeps with the Phillips, and we've had some people say that they get better sleeps with the ResMed. But for the most part, the algorithms for you sleeping are gonna do their job and they are gonna help you. So it doesn't really matter. For most people, which one they get, you should see a very drastic improvement in your sleep. For a lot of users, I find that with our feedback we get, a lot of people are just really happy with the ResMed products. So I think for this episode, the ResMed is gonna win. I think the build quality is a little bit better. I think the user experience is a little bit better. And I think the small and a little bit laggy touchscreen of the Philips could use some work. And I think that is not quite as good as what you get on the ResMed. I hope that answers any questions. I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, please subscribe or visit us at thecpapstore.ca.